Hi everyone, going to do a quick tutorial on how I sewed the pages into the mini album I did on my Great Box Swap Secret Box mini album. And this is not original to me. I'm not even sure of the technical name for what it is, but I saw this almost a couple of years ago now on Marianne Smith's Ustream channel. It was like one of her very original Ustreams, and I went to link it, but it seems to have been removed. Ustream did a whole bunch of updates and removed a lot of stuff. So that's where I originally saw it. She was making a chipboard mini album, like art journal type thing, and so I thought it was brilliant, and I made one. Actually, this is my second one. I turned it into an inspiration journal, but basically this is what we're going to do. We're not doing this edge part. That may be another day. But we're sewing signatures, which are sections of pages, into a spine. And that's what we're going to do today. And each one of these is called a signature, and that's essentially what we're making. And this is essentially what I did for that mini album. I took 2 signatures of black paper, folded them in half, poked the holes in them, sewed them through the binding, and that was essentially how I hooked them in there. So here's a quickie on how I did that. Basically, I always make a template of what I'm going to make because if you do a lot of pages, this just makes it easier to line everything up. That's totally up to you. If you're only doing a couple, it doesn't really matter. You want to take 2 pieces of paper. The thicker the paper, the fewer pages you want in your section signature. The thinner the paper, obviously, you can make it thick, or it's your book. Make it any way you want. I decided that I was going to make my book this size, and so I've already made 2, but this is the one that I haven't done yet. And one of the things I wanted to show is obviously when you stack 2 pieces of paper together and fold it, it makes the inside one actually stick out. So you want to make sure if you like them all straight in edge, no ragged edges, that you go back when you're done and you trim off the center section. So for example, you can see the rough edge on this one. And then on my finished one, there's no rough edge because I just trimmed it off. So if you don't mind that, leave it, go back with a distressing tool, make it all rough and edgy. It's your book. You can do whatever you want. So basically you take your 2 pages, fold it in half so that you now have a signature, and then you're going to poke holes in it, and make sure that you have something to poke into besides your finger, because you'll only do that a couple times, hopefully only once. It took me twice before you stop that, because it, puts blood everywhere. Ick. Anyways, decide how you want your strings. And so basically, like for example, in this one, let me find a blank page here. What we're basically doing is sewing through the page, through the binding, back up through the page, and we're tying a knot in the middle. Okay, so you have to decide, do you want your knot on the inside or on the outside? I put mine on the inside. You can put yours on the outside. If you want it on the outside, basically do the opposite of what I'm about to do. So decide where you want your holes. I'm doing mine 1/4 inch from the top and 1/4 inch from the bottom. You can do them anywhere you want. There's probably a technical way to decide that, like, stronger, higher, weaker, lower. I don't know. This is how I did mine. 1/4 inch from the top, poke a hole. 1/4 inch from the bottom, poke a hole. And again, if you're doing a lot, do this on your sample. I made a sample that was the same size. That way it's the same for all of your pages. Then what you want to do, I usually use a thicker thread. If you're using a thin thread, then this is probably fine, but you want to make sure that your hole is the same size as whatever you are sewing through it. I'm blind as a bat these days. Apparently my age is kicking in. So I use a great big needle with a great big piece of thread. You can do whatever your vision allows you to do. If you're going to use the thicker stuff, you need to make thicker holes. So what I recommend is not putting a hole in your tabletop. Use either a Crop-A-Dile or one of these little Fiskars hole eyelet maker thingamabobbers. And basically you line your hole up. This is going to be loud, so hang on and let go, and look. You have a hole. Big hole, little hole. Okay, do it for both of them. Hang on, here we go. And now you have 2 holes ready to go that will fit your needle. I went ahead and did that to 2 other sections so that we could have some done for demonstration purposes. All professional sounding, aren't I? Okay, then take your binding. Now, if you're going to do a binding like this, you do not need to worry about how you hook your pages together. Obviously, they just are side by side. Does not matter. I'm not getting into making the book, so there's going to be a little bit of you figuring this out on your own. All I can say is make sure that you at least cover your spine with your pretty paper before you do this step, because you cannot go back later unless you want to just put it between the holes. With me? All right. You can do it with any kind of like you could do it with a spine like this too, where it's wrapped around. Just be sure that you build this first, then go put your holes in. With me? Okay. So what I did is I decided I was going to have 3 signatures in my book. Again, this is a fake book, so bear with me. I went across the top, a 1/4 inch from the top of my, do it down here so you guys can see it. 1/4 inch from the top, I'm going to put my holes. Why did I pick a 1/4 inch? Because I did a 1/4 inch from the top on my pages. My spine is going to be exactly the same height as my pages. Is yours? I have no idea. But basically that's how I lined it up so that my holes were the same. Do whatever you want, just take in consideration of your distance from the top and the bottom. Okay, so line it up. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch from the side because I like that distance, not because it's required. Again, this is your book. You do it the distance you want. I come down a 1/4 from the top and I would poke a hole. I come down up from the bottom and I would poke another hole. I would do that for each signature. I spaced mine out a 1/4 inch across because I like a 1/4 inch between them. But really do whatever you want to do. Find your center and then work out to each side. However you want to do it. This is not the part that, you know, I'm going to tell you how to do it, because I don't know how you're going to make your book or what you're putting in it. Is it thick? Is it thin? You have to decide that. So anyways, this is just how to sew the pages in. So I did my 1/4 inch, I did my 1/4 inch, and I poked my holes. Same basic process, okay? We'll do another one here. I went over a 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, make sure I'm a 1/4 inch. And again, it's your book. So if you don't want it to be straight, don't make it straight. If you want it to be straight, make it straight. I have a really thick pokey tool, so I just went through, but you can use, again, this pokey tool if you want, okay? All right, so we got that part. Can you even see this? Yeah, you're good. Okay, if not, well, you can't exactly tell me, can you? All right, so what you want to do, take your string, make sure you have enough. I have this much. You know, string is cheap. Unless you're using something, you know, golden laden, you'll be fine. Decide where you want your knot. If you want your knot on the outside of the spine, you're going to do the reverse of what I'm doing. I'm putting mine on the inside. So take your thread. Okay, go through the hole. I am not a sewer, so if I can do this, you can do this. Then pick where you want this to be. Go through this. Make sure your outside is outside, your inside is inside. Because once you sew it all together, you got to take it apart if you did it backwards. All right, so here's where we are. All right, go back through the bottom hole, back through the bottom of the signature. And you can kind of let go of it. It's not going anywhere. You're all right. Take your thread and pull it snug. Now, don't yank on it if you use thinner paper, because obviously it's going to rip. And then I just tie a knot in the middle. And voila. And usually I have my son can put his finger here so that it doesn't like get all loose and goosey like that. But you know, stick something there. If you have a kid, stick a finger there, and then you just snip it off to whatever length you want, and there you go. All right, one more time. Not that you haven't figured this out by now, but somebody will go, I had to rewind, you know. Okay, ready? Through the top hole. Out the back. Don't pull it all the way through. All right. Through your spine at the top. Come here, string. Okay, where's my end? Don't laugh. Okay, laugh a little. Okay, through the spine. Okay, with me? Then flip it over. We're on the back. See, we've already got our one there. Okay, through the bottom hole. Through the bottom signature hole. back through. Okay? And tie your knot. Okay, snip it off. Now you have 2 signatures tied in. And that was all that I did in that mini album. I just did 2. I have 4 pages, 4 full sheets of paper folded in half that I sewed in twice into the mini album. And that was basically what I did. And then you can go back and decorate your pages and do whatever you want to do and hook your binding to it, glue this into something. You can do whatever you want, but that's the basics on how to sew the pages in. All right, so holler if you have questions. Hope that answered some questions. Didn't totally confuse everybody. Alrighty, bye. Thanks for watching.